Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Defense played a big part in the win for the Reds last night. First, Brandon Phillips in the 12th. Ross Wilson Ramos in the game winner. And then Billy Hamilton stretches out in the 14th to take the winning run away. And then in the 15th inning, Todd Frazier, his 8th of the year. The Reds win 4-3 in 15 in the first game of this series. And welcome to T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. Tonight from Washington, D.C., Nationals Park. It's the Reds and the Washington Nationals in Game 2 of this three-game series right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, and a pleasant good evening, and welcome on this Bow-Tie Tuesday to Reds baseball. Jim Kelch along with Chris Welsh. Well, Chris, tonight is Johnny Cueto night. It's become one of those special nights every time he goes to the mound. Tonight, Chapter 10 of his 2014 season. Tonight, let's focus on his strikeouts.
Well, for a while there, Johnny Cueto was operating under the radar, but no longer, not when you start putting up the kind of strikeout numbers that Johnny Cueto has done so far this year. And how he's getting them done is really interesting because Johnny Cueto is a combination of throwing the ball 94 miles an hour, hiding the ball extremely well, and then throwing it on the corners. So when you add it all up, you see that these hitters are all taking strike three. When you're up there with two strikes on you, you're ready to swing the bat if you think you're getting a strike. Obviously, they simply don't see it off of Johnny Cueto, and that's how he's been able to just assemble astounding numbers through his first 9 starts. 76 strikeouts, leads the National League. 43 of them swinging, 7th in the National League. But how about looking? That is when you really got good stuff, when they don't even bother to take the bat off their shoulders.
Well, tonight, Game 2 of this series, Johnny Cueto against the right-hander Doug Fister, making his first start of the year here at Nationals Park. Reds try to make it 2 in a row, and if they're lucky, they'll try to do it in 9. Ford dealer. Ford, go further. by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. From the river looking in, and now here's the skipper of the Reds, Brian Price. His lineup tonight brought to you by Meyer. Looks like this: Hamilton, Schumacher, and Phillips. Frazier, the hero last night in the cleanup spot at first base. Then Brian Pena and Chris Heisey. Cozart, Santiago gets the start at third. And then Johnny Cueto against this right-hander, Doug Fister, the former Seattle hurler, the former Tiger, making his third start for the Nationals and his first in this ballpark.
Well, he's a veteran. He's 30 years old, but he's 6 feet 8 inches tall, and he's one of these guys that will use a downward play, and you're going to see a lot of sinking fastballs from Fister and 2 different types of changeups. Those are his main weapons.
Billy Hamilton to lead things off, and on 3 pitches, Doug Fister takes care of Billy Hamilton. Nationals defensively behind Fister look like this, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Fransden gets the start in left, Denard Span in center, Jason Worth in right, Rendon at third, Desmond the shortstop, Espinoza and Tyler Moore are on the right side. Fister throws to the catcher tonight, which is Jose Lobaton. Schumacher, first pitch swinging, drives this ball over the head of Fransden. Short hops the wall out and left. Into second with a 1-out double is Skip Schumacher, his 3rd double of the year. Schumacher had a pair of hits last night. He gets a first inning 2-bagger here tonight.
Yeah, that's what I call doing your homework in the on-deck circle. He saw those 3 pitches that Billy Hamilton saw, and he said, you know what, Fister's likely to chase me up with a fastball here on the first pitch. And he did indeed. In fact, he chased the one that did the chasing by sending Kevin Franzen back to the left field wall.
Chris, you mentioned Fister is 6'8", so you're naturally thinking this guy overpowers you with heat, but that's really not the case with him.
No, it's not. But what he does do, he has some deception. He throws across his body, tough on right-handers, and gets a lot of ground balls.
First pitch swinging Phillips, wide throw by Rendon, but out at first as Tyler Moore did a nice job of adjusting down there.
It's a nice heads-up play by Brandon Phillips too. Sometimes you've got to think on the fly, and he sees that first baseman come off the bag and go high, thinking, "Hey, I'm just going to go ahead and slide in here just in case."
Schumacher stays out at second base, and now here is Todd Frazier batting in the cleanup spot tonight. Last night it was Devin Mesoraco, but after catching 15 here last night, he's out of the lineup, and now a drive into center by Frazier as the Reds are really hopping on the first pitch is thrown by Fister. Racing around to score is Schumacher, and so Frazier, who picked up the 2-run homer in the 15th last night, gets his 24th RBI of the year here, and the Reds jump in front in the first.
Todd raised his batting average 10 points last night. It's going to go up even further tonight with that base hit on a first pitch he sees. And you know, the reason you want to go after Fister early in the count is that he is one of the few pitchers out in Major League Baseball right now that has not walked a batter. So he's around the plate. He's coming right after you, so you might as well be ready to swing the bat.
We saw another extraordinary pitcher in Cliff Lee the other day who just doesn't walk batters. His career walks per 9 for Lee was 1.9. Well, the career walks per 9 for Fister, 1.8. Very, very good.
Well, that shows that he's got confidence in his stuff. And if you're going to beat him, you're going to have to beat him with the bat.
Brian Pena against his good friend Doug Fister. They were with the Tigers a year ago. Rolls this one into shallow right. A bad throw by Espinoza is a wild one over to third base. Will go Frazier. Pena is aboard. The Reds have them at the corners with 2 men out.
Well, we have seen some bad throws already in this inning. Now, the first baseman was able to take care of the first one, but there's no way. He doesn't even want to get in the baseline right there. He knows the runner is coming down the line just about right at the bag there. But the fact that it did not go out of play does not allow Brian Pena to go to second base.
We talked last night about the fact that this Washington team is not very good defensively at all. Here's a bunt and a foul by Heisey for a strike. They're the worst National League team defensively speaking, and the second worst in baseball, only behind the Cleveland Indians. Matt Williams' club, remember last night, Worth dropped that easy fly ball out in right field. Turned out not to cost his club a run. We'll see if this error by Espinosa does. Heisey had 3 hits last night, all doubles, a new career high for him. A look at Pfister from Merced, California. Played collegiately at Fresno State. In fact, to become a family tradition, his dad, Larry, was a football player at Fresno State. Doug played baseball there. You mentioned very close with Brian Pena. They were together with the Tigers. Heisey at 236 with a homer and 6 driven in. An opportunity here to get his first RBI as a starter. This was a tough situation for both sides last night, hitting with runners in scoring position. The Reds went 2 for 24. The Nationals 2 for 18.
Well, I think everybody around that batter's box thought that was strike 3 except the home plate umpire. Pfister was halfway to the dugout.
That's Rob Drake calling the balls and strikes tonight. Runner going from first, and on the 3-2, Heisey strikes out, and the inning is over. But the Reds score first and lead 1-0 after 1 half. Johnny Cueto making start number 10 here tonight. The first pitcher, as you can see here, since 1909 with 9 straight starts with 7 innings or more and allowing 2 runs or less, going all the way back to Harry Krause in 1909. This guy is just extraordinary.
I mean, he's having the best start essentially in the history of modern day baseball, period. You can cut it, slice it, dice it however you want, but nobody's better than Johnny Cueto to start a year than what you're seeing this Reds pitcher do. And he is driven to continue, and the Reds are hoping that he has that kind of night tonight.
He faced the Nationals once last year. He's faced them 8 times in his career. He rarely gives up hits, but that's exactly what Bernard Span does on the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning. Let's take a look at the rest of the lineup for the Nationals, put forth by Matt Williams, brought to you by Meyer. Span, Rendon, and Worth, Desmond, Tyler Moore, and Kevin Fransden, who's done very well against the Reds in his career. Danny Espinosa, Jose Lobaton catches tonight. Doug Fister on the mound against the 28-year-old Johnny Cueto. 1.25 ERA, best in baseball. 135 average against, best in baseball. Leads the league in innings pitched at 72 and in strikeouts with 76. Rendon hitting .271, 5 home runs, driven in 24. He had a hit last night, 1 for 6. Now hitting 7 of the last 9 for the Nationals. Talked about Cueto not giving up many hits. Coming into this game, 72 innings pitched, 33 hits allowed. People see that and they think that's some sort of a typo or a misprint. 39 less hits allowed than innings pitched. Johnny Cueto. Now he falls behind 3-0.
Yeah, what we've seen out of Johnny Cueto is a guy that has been able to combine terrific stuff, meaning good fastball, movement on all of his pitches, with very good deception. Very hard for a hitter to see the ball come out of his hand. He's got that twisting motion. Watch his front side. His glove flashes up. Really hides the ball well with a pitcher that lives on the corners. Now, not every time you go out there do you have that impeccable control where you live on the corner. So, having given up a first pitch base hit, now you go 3-0 to the next hitter. Might be one of those games where Johnny has got to battle a little bit harder than he has when he's got that great location working.
He also has that great pickoff move working.
Well, he always has that working. And I'm sure Denard Span knows all about it. But he simply doesn't give up stolen bases. At least not because it's his fault.
In the air, Schumacher long run, still on the run, and right into foul ground as he crosses the line. He makes the catch for the out. Nice effort. Good hustle by Skip Schumacher out and right as we take a look at the Reds defensively. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. Behind Johnny Cueto, the best defense in baseball. Tonight lines up with Heisey, Hamilton, and Schumacher. Santiago gets the start at third, then Cozart. Phillips and Frazier. Battery of Cueto and Brian Pena. Pena has caught the starts made by Cueto in 7 of the 9 games in which he has started this year. And Brian Price said before the game, and he said it before, I'm not lining up pitcher with catcher, but this combination seems to be working very well right now, so we'll stick with it.
And why break it up? Well, Johnny Cueto, one of the things that he's always aware of more now than ever is to where he strides. And what you're seeing right here with this line is he draws this on the pitching mound to remind him that you've got to step right towards home plate, even when you come out of that twisting, turning, full windup of his. He's not a guy that likes to throw across his body. Really never had that problem. Well, the problem that he has, if anything, off his alignment is moving too far towards first base and being too open. And you can see him kind of telling himself, all right, stay behind the ball and stay on that line.
I guess that was the original idea of the Tiant, right? Swinging at 3-0, driven into deep center, but room for Billy Hamilton. Boy, Jason Worth has hit the heck out of the ball in this series with not much to show for it.
Big ballpark.
2 out. Worth last night went 1 for 6. 4 times hit line drives that were caught. He did have a leadoff double in the bottom of the 15th inning against Logan Ondrusek, who ended up with a win in that game last night and scored. The Reds won that 4-3. 2 straight 3-0 counts from Cueto, and he retires them both, Rendon and Worth. Now deals with Ian Desmond. Desmond hit 5th last night, moved up to the 4 spot tonight with Wilson Ramos out of the lineup. Desmond at 237. Team high 7 homers and 25 runs batted in. His problem is the strikeout.
Well, it is, but you know, I don't think it bothers him very much. In fact, I think he's traded some patience at the plate for some power, and he's taking a bigger swing. He's hitting the ball further or farther, and I think the reason why he's getting more strikeouts as well. And that's a trade-off that hitters are going to make. I mean, it's very rare that you see the guy that doesn't strike out, but he also hits the bombs.
49 of them this year and 173 at bats, about 1 every 3.5 times up. Toward the right field corner, slicing and foul, out of play.
I believe the Nationals went after Ian Desmond during spring training, and they wanted to sign him to a long-term deal. I mean, a hefty long-term deal, somewhere in the 5-year range, and he turned that down. He ended up having come to an agreement with the Nationals on a 2-year deal, which will make him a free agent after next year. But I'm sure that he's one of the key pieces in this organization, and Mike Rizzo, as you see there, would like to keep him around a while. There's the Nationals GM.
Took this team 2 years ago to the best record in Major League Baseball into the postseason with 98 wins. Did not make it out of the first round of the playoffs. They lost 3-2 to the Cardinals. Remember, that was an extraordinary letdown for them. They led by 6 runs early in that game 5 here before it slipped away.
Well, the bar of expectation here in Washington is rather high. They figure they've got the cash flow. It's a big city. They draw pretty well. And they've got big-time stars like Steven Strasburg. That people automatically think that he will carry a ball club like this, you know, to the World Series championship.
Runner going at 3-2, and there's a swing and a miss by Ian Desmond. So some hard hit balls in the first against Cueto, but no runs by the Nationals. Top of the second inning, they scored in the first against Doug Fister on an RBI single by Todd Frazier, and so the bottom of the Reds order now against the 30-year-old right-hander means Cozart, Santiago, and Johnny Cueto. Span has a beat on this ball, and the first pitch, the first out, recorded in the second. Jim Day has some information down below. Let's go down to Jimmy.
And it involves Matt Latos. He threw his simulated game today, this afternoon. and threw 2 simulated innings against Jay Bruce and Neftali Soto. I talked to him afterwards and said that he felt great through all his pitches, including the curveball, which was giving him problems. And Brian Price also echoed the sentiments that thought he looked great. If he comes out unscathed with no pain tomorrow, he says in 5 days, Brian Price says, he will go on a rehab stint in the minor leagues. Location TBA. So great news there for Cincinnati. And we'll have an update on Jay Bruce as well coming up.
That is good news. And, Latos has said, hey, don't get too excited. I've been this close before. He is really, really getting close.
Well,
now.
with all the injuries in baseball, if you have depth in pitching, you've got something that really nobody else has. And you get Matt Latos back. Wow.
A little flare in the left field by Ramon Santiago gets the Reds their 3rd hit of this game. Ramon making his first start of the year for the Reds at third base. Frazier's made all the starts over there, save 2. Neftali Soto started a game over there at third in Atlanta. Santiago here tonight with Frazier moving over to first. Remember all the work he did at first base back in 2012 when Joey Votto was out. So here's Cueto. 4 hits this year, 3 sacrifice bunts. One of the best bunters on this club, and he fouls this one. He's in the hole, 2 strikes.
Well, he's one of the better bunters as a pitcher on this ball club because he doesn't panic in the batter's box. And he's not afraid to get his face down there close to where the ball makes contact with the bat. I mean, the farther that bat head is away from your head, the harder it is to try to put the bat on the ball. Johnny just relaxes and gets right in there and do it. He's really improved himself a lot over the years. He was not always a real good bunter, but he is now.
Deadens this one out in front of the plate. Lobaton will throw out to first, and there's the 4th sacrifice of the year for Cueto, and a runner in scoring position. Catch Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds during this 2014 season with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, now celebrating 12 years. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Reds.com for details. Billy Hamilton, who took 3, went out on strikes to start this game, jumps in there for the 2nd time against Doug Fister. He's seen 4 pitches from Fister, all strikes. Fister started the year here in 2014 on the disabled list. He had a right lat strain, wasn't activated until the 9th of May. Made his season's debut at Oakland in an 8-0 loss in which his numbers were terrible.
Well, it's been really a tough spring for him because early in camp for the Nationals, new team, he has an elbow problem, so that besets him for a while. And then when he finally gets healthy enough to pitch later towards camp, they realize that he strained a muscle back in his lat area in the back. And that was the same thing, by the way, that bothered Johnny Cueto last year. But he's been battling back, and they're excited to get him back the same way the Reds will be excited to get Matt Latos back.
Hamilton out to center. The Reds strand a runner. We play to the bottom of the 2nd. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Johnny Cueto, way below average. This is interesting stats here.
Well, when you're talking about batting average against for Johnny Cueto, I mean, he is setting new standards. Obviously, he leads the league in that, but a slugging percentage is when you add all the bases together, home runs, triples, doubles, and so on. You come up with an average on that. When the slugging percentage against for Johnny Cueto this year is the same as an average pitcher in the major leagues batting average against, it's unbelievable. I mean, that's how tough he's been. We're trying to, I guess, slice it every different way to show you how good Johnny Cueto is, but every number you look at is more astounding than the previous one.
He really is a can't-miss pitcher to watch. You talk a lot about home run hitters or guys who take BP. Hey, you don't want to miss this swing. This guy's extraordinary. You don't often hear that about pitchers, but the way he is going, that's what he is. There's strike three and a 1-2 pitch to Tyler Moore.
I think he got a little angry there at Tyler Moore because Moore called timeout. And Rob Drake, the home plate umpire, let him call timeout or call time after Cueto had already started into his rock on the previous motion. And Johnny piped it up there to 95 that time and said, you know what? Maybe that pitch is worth waiting for after all.
Bat and cap in hand, Moore went back to the dugout. So 4 in a row set down by Cueto since the Bernard Span single started the first inning. Now first pitch swinging Kevin Franzen is thrown out by Zach Cozart. 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the second.
Franzen in the lineup tonight after having a real good night, partial night last night. Came in extra innings and hit the ball very hard.
Had a double in the 14th inning, Kevin Franzen last night. 2 men out. The batter Danny Espinosa. Cueto looking for a 1-2-3 inning. 9 straight quality starts for Johnny Cueto. First 3 actually were 7 innings, and then he's had 6 straight of 8 or 9. Toward the mound, and Cueto makes the play, and out is Danny Espinosa. So a 6-pitch inning in the bottom of the second. Enough of the great defense from last night's game, so check it out. That's Phillips and Hamilton's gems. Watch them over and over again. A fan got a face full when trying to get a tossed ball last night. You can check out that video. Plus, Kevin Goheen has a feature on the hockey dynasty in the Queen City. Keep up to date with all of your favorite Ohio sports teams on FoxSportsOhio.com. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Schumacher, a double in the first, leads things off here in the top of the third. Schumacher, like many of his teammates, have never faced Pfister before. Only Santiago and Pena in the Reds lineup have faced Pfister before tonight. Schumacher tied up on that one, in on him. And the strikeout is a third by Pfister. It's time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. A little bit later on tonight, our AT&T fan photo of the game. Here's Brandon Phillips. I see Cueto taking his time with that windup, which he turns a la Louis Tiant, but that is exact opposite of Doug Pfister.
Yeah, but he still has kind of a compact motion, really, but it's very quick. Once he gets going, he doesn't waste any time at all getting through that delivery and getting the ball to the plate. Kind of interesting to know from where we sit, Jim. We can see where these two pitchers land with their left foot. And Pfister is a guy that is way across his body. He steps towards third base, or at least towards the third base, really batting circle, a warm-up circle for the hitters, and throws across his body. Cueto is much more straight in line.
Yeah, I guess a lot of times when the pitchers land in the same spot, they're always filling that spot in, but won't have that problem tonight.
No, you won't. And the other thing about it is it makes you realize that all pitchers have to fall into the same little box as far as their delivery goes. And, you know, it's Pfister's quirkiness, a little quick delivery, arms and legs going different ways and so on. All of a sudden the ball is on you that helps make him effective. He's been an effective major league pitcher. Been around a while now, 30 years old.
Tonight making his 130th career big league start. Number by Phillips, and Pfister will throw him out for the second out of the inning. Batter now Todd Frazier. Boy, he had the big blow in the 15th inning last night against Ross Detweiler. Into the red seats, out in left center field. His 8th of the year. Teammates very happy in that dugout. 2 minutes shy of a 5-hour game last night. All turns out to be worth it as the Reds win it 4-3. Reds had 3 pitchers other than the starter go multiple innings. Chapman went 2, Hoover went 2, Andrusik went 2. So the natural question today was, who's available out of that bullpen?
Johnny Cueto.
Brian was asked the question. I bet you're happy with the fact that Cueto is pitching. He said, yeah, certainly doesn't hurt us, the fact that Cueto's pitching
Well,
today.
I mean, he's not pitched fewer than 7 innings in any of his starts. So if he stays to form, you don't have to cover very much.
Todd Frazier, our Steel Power 2 performer of the night. First Reds player to hit a home run in the 15th inning or later since Johnny Bench did it back in 1974. All of his hits last night, Frazier's, came in extra innings. Regular portion of the game, Frazier had been 0 for 3, but he singled in the 11th, singled in the 13th, and then homered in the 15th. Starts this game at 268. Talk about Frazier playing first base back in 2012 when Votto was out. He's made 37 career starts at first base. 36 of them were that year when Frazier filled in for Votto over at first. Remember, we saw Miguel Cairo play a decent amount of first base then also. No longer playing, but still in the Reds organization. Here comes a 3-2 to Frazier.
Well, anytime you see anybody other than Joey Votto playing down there at first base, things aren't as right as they should be. So you got to do what you've got to do. The Reds are hoping to get Joey Votto back this weekend when they face the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, not out of the realm of possibility. Ninth pitch now, this AB. And Fister got the fastball by Frazier. A 1-2-3 inning for the veteran right-hander.
Nationals on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day back with you, and let's bring you to our IGS Bringing the Energy feature, and it's none other than Johnny Cueto. We've talked so much about his starts going deep into games. He's thrown 8 or more innings in each of his last 6 starts, which is tied for second most in baseball since 2000. And you look at the list, pretty star-studded. Cliff Lee with 10, then Cueto, Halladay, and Mulder with 6. You could just break out the record books with this guy. It's been an unbelievable run.
Yeah, thank you, Jim Day. We could probably take 2 innings and reel off all the different accomplishments that he has handled this year and still not be done. Trying for his 10th consecutive quality start here tonight. He's retired 6 in a row since Denard Span led off the first inning with a base hit. He gets the catcher Jose Lobaton here.
You know, I guess you really don't know what you have until it's gone. Last year, the Reds won 90 games. And Johnny Cueto, in that 90-win season, pitched all of 60 innings and 6 quality starts all year long. He's already got 9 quality starts this year.
Remember, 3 times he went on the disabled list last year. Made that, from a Reds fan standpoint, ill-fated start in the wild card playoff game in Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh fans are convinced that they shook him up so much that they dropped the ball, remember, on the mound.
Those days are long gone.
And Johnny doesn't really like to talk about that. He said, hey, that was in the past. That was 2013. I put it behind me. We moved on to 2014. You're not going to change those Pirates fans' minds, though, are you? Strike 3 call. Lobaton on a 3-2 pitch becomes the third strikeout victim of the night.
Well, we showed you a very interesting stat about the percentage of Johnny Cueto's strikeouts that are looking. He's had 3 strikeouts on the night. 2 of those have been looking, and we'll make that last one our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Little backdoor cutter at 89 miles an hour.
Here's the pitcher, Pfister, and we are led to believe that he's a pretty darn good hitter.
Well, he was a first baseman when he went to college at Fresno State. Young man that was born and raised in Merced, California.
He didn't get much chance to hit in the American League with first Seattle, then Detroit. He only has 16 career at bats, and this is his 6th big league year.
Well, the first thing you notice about him that he throws right-handed and he bats left-handed.
Yeah.
In fact, this is part of the story for Doug Pfister. He is just about ambidextrous. I mean, he can throw right-handed or left-handed. Sometimes he shags balls in the outfield throwing left-handed. When he played soccer as a kid, he kicked equally as well with his left foot as his right foot.
Trying to pick that ball on the backhand swoop is Frazier. He's unable to come up with it. And the pitcher, Pfister, is aboard with 1 out.
Well, you know, when you're playing first base, it's kind of like playing third base. You can knock a ball down and still have a lot of time to get the runner at first. And you don't necessarily always have to backhand it and style it out. I think Todd would have been a little better served right there if he got his body in front of it.
Frazier at third base this year has made 5 errors. He's charged with an E on that one. So the Reds, who committed 2 errors last night, commit an error here tonight. They had gone an extraordinary amount of time. 12 of the last 13 games going into last night, they had not committed an error. So here they are committing an error tonight. First time they've done it in back-to-back games since way back in mid-April. Span bunts that ball and out of play. Denard in the game last night, 2 for 7. They hope that's the start of better things for Span, who had that time on the disabled list for a concussion earlier this year.
You know, Span did right there on that bunt attempt the same thing that Billy Hamilton does a lot when he tries to bunt from the left side. It's real slow until he's getting ready to put the bunt down, and then he kind of jabs at it a little bit, moves his head, and it's very difficult to put the bunt down. I mean, with the speed that Span has, and he's not as fast as Hamilton, but he is a pretty good runner. And Hamilton, you know, you got to keep your head still. You keep your head still when you swing the bat. You should keep your head still when you lay a bunt down, and both those guys would be better bunters if they figured that out. That's a little better.
Santiago going to make this play, but then throw it away down the right field line. Pfister comes to third. He is being waved home. Over to third base goes Span. That ball is cut off, and it's a 1-1 game here in the bottom of the third inning on a ball that went about 45 feet. Santiago threw it wide of Frazier. That opened the gate for Pfister to circle the bases from first.
A Little League triple. Santiago's practiced this. He's a good infielder. He just doesn't get that ball anywhere near Frazier. And of course, the problem is it's in the baseline. And a first baseman, it's almost suicide when you get into that baseline. You got a guy busting it down the line right there. So you don't want your left arm taken off. That ball goes down the line, hit perfectly against the fence to roll into right field. And Johnny Cueto's defense, which has normally been airtight behind him, has been leaking.
2 errors in the inning.
Just think about what's happened here for Cueto in the inning. He strikes out the number 8 hitter looking. Next guy's the pitcher, hits an easy ground ball to the first baseman. bobbles it for an error. Next guy lays down a bunt, as you said, goes 45 feet. He's on third, and there's a run in, and Johnny Cueto saying, well, what's happened here? Not only do you not score me a bunch of runs, but at least play some defense.
Well, that's a hit credited to Span, his second of the night. A throwing error on Santiago that allowed the runner to come around and score. And now Rendon's going to lift a fly ball in the center that's going to be deep enough to get Span home and give the Nationals a 2-1 lead. Rendon gets RBI number 25. And the Nationals will push 2 across. Base is clear now with 2 out. Worth will bat with the Nationals in front for the first time in this series.
For Johnny Cueto, those are the first unearned runs he has given up all year long. In fact, he'd given up coming into this ball game, he had given up 10 runs total. 7 of those came on home runs, as in he's given up 7 home runs. I'm not sure if any of those were 2-run homers or not, but I mean, it's very rare to see a team have several hits in an inning against Cueto, and they still haven't done that in this inning. Okay, well, I've been told by Josh Hall 6 solo home runs and 1 2-run. So out of the 10 runs that Cueto has given up coming into this game, 8 have come via the home run.
Gives up the 2 unearned here. He had a stretch of 14 consecutive scoreless snapped here, although if you keep track of scoreless innings via earned runs, technically still alive. Worth hit the ball hard in the center, caught by Hamilton his first time. Nationals in front 2-1, bottom of the third. Those 2 runs, by the way, will not affect the quality start that Johnny Cueto is chasing here tonight. Johnny's produced a quality start each of his first 9. First Reds pitcher since Norm Charlton to do it back in 1990.
Well, you know, I think for Johnny Cueto, the quality start stat, I mean, what it means to him is go at least 6 innings in every ball game. But he's chasing W's right now because he knows that he's the ace of this staff. Mike Leake pitched a heck of a game last night, was not involved in a decision. Cueto's thinking, hey, I need a win here.
You don't hear the term thrown around very much. We talk about closers, but back in the day, you used to hear the word stopper a lot. And that's certainly what Johnny Cueto is.
Oh, absolutely.
You have your ace who stops any sort of losing streak that you're on. Your number 1 guy, and that's what Johnny Cueto is on this staff.
He could use a bib.
Indeed.
What's those little drool pads those babies have? You know, you clip them on the shoulders.
Sometimes if you go to Skyline, you get those bibs too. No, I do anyway. Foul tip. Did he hang on? Home plate umpire Rob Drake says no. So Worth is still alive at 3-2. Take a look. Short hopped that thing pretty quickly. Tried to sell it to no avail. Good side view right there to see that ball hit the ground. These 2 teams will go at it again tomorrow. The late afternoon game, it'll start at 4:05. Reds Live will come your way at 3:30. It'll be Alfredo Simon against right-hander Tanner Rourke. Young man who's never faced the Reds before. Hard hit into center, and there's Billy Hamilton again. Boy, Jason Worth He didn't have bad luck against the Reds in this series. He'd have no luck at all. Get out to the Holy Grail on Friday night before the Reds and the Cardinals begin their weekend series. Answer our Reds trivia questions to win great prizes and be featured on Reds Live. Join in the fun Friday night. That's at 6 o'clock. Holy Grail at the Banks. 2-1 Nationals lead as we play into the fourth inning. Brian Pena against his good buddy Doug Fister gets things going. Reached on an error by Espinosa his first time. Pena one hit, 10 career at bats against Fister. That one was a home run ball. And a home run against Fister back in late September of 2012 while he was with Kansas City and Fister was with Detroit. To first and out. Let's go down to Jim Day, who's got some information and an update on Jay Bruce.
Yeah, Jay Bruce was one of those live hitters in the simulated game for Matt Latos today, and all signs pointing to the good part. Not only did he hit the ball out of the yard, he hit a few doubles and almost took Latos' head right there. Latos told him he was going to groove him a fastball. That was actually a joke between the two. But the final step he made after the simulated game was to run the bases and slide, and they say that's the final step that he needed to make. He came out unscathed. I talked to him afterwards, and he said, you know, I feel faster. I think they put a part of Billy Hamilton's leg in me. He was joking, of course, and asked if that would be a performance enhancer, and we shook our head yes. Of course he was joking, but he's eligible to come off the disabled list tomorrow. I doubt that's going to happen, but who knows? After an off day on Thursday, you never know. He says he does not want to go on a rehab stint in the minors. He wants to come right back to the big club.
Well, that's good stuff, Jim, and I think he could use a horse racing phrase and say he is chomping at the bit to get back in there. I mean, the guy is high energy right now, doesn't really know what to do with himself.
Well, you know, unless they've changed the rules, and they may have. I haven't read the entire basic agreement, but it used to be that a player, if he did not want to go out on a rehab assignment, he didn't have to go out on one. The ball club could do its best to convince him, but they could not force him. So if Jay Bruce is coming around as fast as he has been, you know, maybe there's no reason to send him out. Just getting back in the lineup quicker the better.
Well, yesterday was 2 weeks since he had the surgery.
Yeah, that is an entirely different picture than it would be, we'll say, with Matt Latos, who hasn't pitched at all this season. Pitchers have to build up their arm strength. He wants to make sure he doesn't injure himself. You've got to have pitch counts and so on. But a guy like Jay Bruce, as long as his knees are fine, and his knee obviously is the one that's no swelling, and he can run on it, slide on it, do all the things you have to do in a regular game. Don't waste those ABs down in the minor leagues.
It was amazing to hear that he did actually slide today. Remember the process it took for Joey Votto when he had his surgeries to slide again.
Yeah.
Jay out there sliding today, and we understand everybody's a little different.
Hey, you've been doing it since you were a kid.
Yeah.
I think his knee just felt a lot better after his surgery than Joey Votto's did after his surgery, and that's what happens. So you're right, everybody's different.
Those are bats with 2 out. Reds down a run, 2-1. They scored in the first. Nationals get 2 unearned in the bottom of the third. Cozart fly to center his first time. Toward Desmond. And the inning is over. So back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for the right-hander Doug Fister. Sports Ohio is brought to you by the JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. By B-Dubs, spend $30 on a gift card for dads and grads, and they'll give you a $5 bonus. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. And by T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. Nationals in the bottom of the fourth inning have Ian Desmond, then Tyler Moore, then Kevin Fransden. Nationals have 2 runs, 2 hits. Reds 1 on 3 hits, but there have been 3 errors in this game already. Very uncharacteristically, the Reds have committed 2 of them. Both those came in the bottom of the third, led to 2 unearned Washington runs. One by Frazier at first. And one, the throwing error by Santiago, making his first Red start at third. To the mound by Desmond. And Cueto handles that, and the leadoff man is gone. The batter will be Tyler Moore. Tyler Moore, a man after Jeff Brantley's heart. He's from Mississippi State. Played late in the game last night, although he did not start. They had Greg Dobbs over there at first. Backhand pick there by Cozart, and a nice throw across the diamond to retire Tyler Moore. 2 out. Reds fans celebrate Memorial Day weekend at the ballpark. Take advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer. That's purchase 2 tickets for only $22. See the Reds take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Plus, don't miss a weekend full of fireworks, giveaways, and much more. Head to Great American Ballpark this weekend. Take advantage of that 2 for $22 ticket deal. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Select Kroger locations or go to Reds.com today. Reds will wrap things up here tomorrow afternoon. Off day Thursday, and then that Memorial Day weekend series. Already in the first 2 months of the year, the 3rd time series-wise that the Reds and the Cardinals will have gotten together. Well, they started the season together at Great American. The Reds went out to New York for 3, then hooked up with the Cardinals again in St. Louis, 7th, 8th, and 9th of April. Have them in town for 3 this weekend. That's a rare scheduling quirk, too. A Sunday night game at 8:05 Eastern, and a cross-country flight, and a night game in Los Angeles on Monday. 2-1 to Franzen. Cueto has not walked a batter. He struck out 3. Sitting now at 55 pitches as he works here in the bottom of the 4th. Toward the mound, Cueto, Frazier, inning over. Second 1, 2, 3 inning of this game for Johnny. We move on to the 5th. Reds down a run. Number 5 here at Nationals Park in Washington. The Reds down a run by the score of 2-1, and you never know who you'll run into in the press box at Nationals Park. And how about running into Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio? How you doing, Senator?
Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
It's
an honor to be here, and it's a great place to watch baseball. Not as good as Cincinnati, not as good as Crosley Field, but it'll work.
Good place to sneak away, though, after a hard day's work.
Yeah, it's nice. I get to maybe 4 games a year. Cleveland plays here. What'd you say, Chris? Once every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, well, even maybe more than that.
You guys are here once
you really
a year.
Never know, but I'm glad you're able to come around and see the Reds. You were a little baseball fan.
I love baseball.
Growing up, you loved the Indians growing up.
My email address is damn Yankees, so you can see what I think about this. I grew up Cleveland. I was born in the 50s, and I was telling you before the game or between innings, I got to go to Crosley Field coming down old route US 42 from Mansfield. Saw Pete Rose in his 2nd or 3rd year, and Tommy Harper and Vada Pinson hit a triple down the right field line. That was pretty cool. But I rooted against the Yankees even more than for the Indians because the Indians were so terrible and the Yankees were so good.
Well, the Indians had their heyday, though.
Yeah.
You know, back in
I had to wait till I was in my 40s, but still.
Well, you could afford tickets by then.
I could afford tickets, yeah.
They used to go to Indians games back at the old ballpark.
Yeah, the old ballpark was wasn't a great place to watch a game. They'd have 70,000 people on opening day because it was this huge park, and then game 2 at 40 degrees, they'd have 7,000.
That's when you could sneak down and sit wherever you wanted.
You'd buy a general admission ticket, and particularly in twilight doubleheaders, because all the business guys would leave in the 2nd inning of the 2nd game or the 8th inning of the 1st game, and you'd sneak around as kids behind the ushers, and you'd get the good seats.
Did you ever go up way to the top and sit next to the?
Never went to. I sat in the bleachers. I saw that guy. I never.
The drum man
beat the drums the whole game. Yeah. But no, there's just such great traditions. I remember the first time, because we lived 2 hours away going up the old Route 42 to Cleveland, and so we never went to night games until I was maybe 15, my dad took us to one. I remember the first time with the lights shining on the green grass coming up through the, and those exciting memories with your parents.
It makes you think, really, is this real? This can't be real. This is unbelievable.
And you never saw the green because it was black and white TV so, in the 60s.
All right, so you come to about, 4 or 5 games a year?
Yeah, 4 or 5 games a year.
You got your tie off. You're nice and relaxed. Looks like you're enjoying it. Now, I'm always wondering, now, you've been in politics a long time, so you've had a chance to figure out what your management style is. If you were a baseball manager, what type of manager would you be? A disciplinarian, a guy that, if you lose a game, you have him out running laps the next day, or players manager? What style would you be?
I'd talk the owner into keeping Shin Choo Choo. I'd start with that.
Okay.
And I build the team around. No, I just love Choo when he's with Cleveland. That's a really good question. My dad, I'm not really answering quite directly here, but my dad, by about June 1st, would always tell me as a kid they should fire the manager because they were always playing badly. My dad wanted to blame the manager because you can't blame Rocky Colavito or you can't blame Louis Tiant or Steve Hargan or so you fire the manager.
It's a lot easier that way.
It's a lot easier.
And usually cheaper nowadays.
Yeah, you don't have to sign players then. So,
Senator, have you had a chance to watch Johnny Cueto pitch?
I saw him. I saw him pitch in the opener last year, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was the opener. I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's best start in baseball, isn't he?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Can he hit at all? I mean, can anything?
He's
come a long way as a butter.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's better than most. There was a story in the paper today that there's a guy, there's a player, the Mets pitching staff has an 0.14 average because they've got 1 hit and 70 at bats, the whole Mets pitching staff. So you hit better than that,
That's nothing to brag about.
So what was your hitting like?
Well, I had 1 year I hit 263.
But a nice stop there by Tyler Moore, and Cueto is out.
I just wish I could have pitched better.
You hit 263?
Yeah.
What was the team average against you, the players' average?
Probably about 363.
You hit 260. Did you ever have any power? Did you hit home runs?
I hit 1 home run.
We could
the whole
look
career?
that
Or that?
Yep.
Yeah, we want to prove. Fans at home ought to Google this and see if Chris Welch really hit 263. What do you think?
Well, nowadays you can't get away with that. There's, as you know, there are fact checkers.
There are fact checkers. Well, they already know. People listening in Cincinnati and Hamilton and Dayton already know whether you really hit 263. So 1 homer and
1 homer, a stolen base. I try to do one of it. Try to do one of everything.
You had a stolen base. They would never let these guys steal now, ever, right?
Well,
they're too expensive.
I missed a sign. In fact, it was when Pete Rose was managing.
Was it a hit and run?
No, it wasn't.
Oh. So you totally missed.
I looked over there and I thought, man, they're giving me the stolen base. Can you believe that? I didn't ask the first base coach because I didn't want to hear him tell me no, they're done.
Right.
They had
an element of surprise with the first baseman.
Yeah.
Who was pitching when you stole? You remember?
I can't remember that, but I do remember my slide was so bad I nearly broke my leg going to second base.
Which is why they don't let you guys. Yeah.
That's
so who'd you hit the home run off of?
I hit that off of Don Carmen, left-handed pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Don Carmen. Was he embarrassed?
He should have been. It's like collecting my signed baseball. You ought to be embarrassed about that, too.
Did you run slow around the bases, or were you too excited?
I was dogging it.
Oh, you were dogging? You should have.
Senator Sherrod Brown, thank you so much for stopping by. Enjoy yourself tonight. Great to see you.
It was good to see you. It's fun.
Nationals will send up the bottom of their order here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Washington in front. Middle game of this series. Score is 2-1. We certainly want to thank Sherrod Brown, Senator Brown from Ohio, stopping by, visiting with us in the top of the 5th. Danny Espinosa leads things off. Espinosa popped one in the air to the first base side of the mound his first time. Committed an error in the first inning. Turned out not to hurt the Nationals. Switch hitter batting from the left side. Santiago cheating in at third. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Got him on strikes. For Cueto, that is number 4. The first out here in the 5th. Well, on tomorrow's newest edition of Reds Weekly, Tom Brenneman sits down with closer Aroldis Chapman about his return to the mound. We'll look at the great start to the season for Johnny Cueto, and it's been a delightful start on defense for the Reds this year. It's all on Reds Weekly tomorrow after Reds Live postgame here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jeff Pecoro, very fine job hosting that program. Ron Melanor, the producer. Lobaton took a called third strike his first time. Now he finds himself in the hole here, 1-2. The exploits, Chris Welsh, of your baseball career, hitting wise, come out with the Senator here in the
that's about the last thing I expected.
Frazier stays down on that ball and will take it himself. Thought about throwing it to Johnny Cueto, but takes it himself. 2 out. He wanted to know all about your career.
Well, I'm a little impressed that he's as big a baseball fan as he's let on. I mean, he knew a lot about what was going on over all the years. Of course, he followed the Indians most of the time growing up, and well aware of what's going on with the Reds. And nice to have him up here.
Sure.
From time to time, we get politicians, obviously from the Ohio area, to come up and visit with us when the Reds come into town. It's a good town to come and visit. Now, I kind of wish that we could make more than just 1 trip a year in here.
I think if they were in the division, we'd make 3. You'd go to every museum in town by the end of one season.
You know
what have you got to 10 since we've been here?
I'd have them done. No museums today, just the Library of Congress, both buildings, impressive and immense, and then the Supreme Court building. Actually, we got into the main courtroom of the Supreme Court. I have a quiz for you.
Frank Underwood, is that the answer?
Well, no. Not even close.
All right.
But you think you know.
I don't think
what
I
the
know
highest court in the land is.
Supreme Court?
Wrong.
What is it?
Above the Supreme Court, there is a basketball court, a full-size regulation indoor basketball court that the employees of the Supreme Court use, and that would be the highest court in the land.
The highest court is a hardwood. 2 strikeouts in the inning. We'll progress to the 6th.
On Fox Sports Ohio, Jim Day with you up here in the upper deck, and look who I ran into. 8th graders from St. Mary's of Hyde Park. How we doing? They're on a field trip here this week here in Washington, D.C., taking in all the sights and sounds. And by the way, Jim Marks, who's the Vice President and General Counsel of the Cincinnati Reds, I have actually found his daughter, Kate Marks, here, who is amongst the group. And Kate is with about 50 of her classmates here. And Kate has a very special message for Dad.
Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. Go Reds.
Very nicely done right there. So happy birthday, Jim Marks, from everyone here at Fox Sports Ohio and all the 8th graders here from St. Mary's. They are enjoying a Reds game on a field trip. How about that, Jim Kelch and Chris Welsh? Can't get better than a field trip to D.C. now.
Well, you better believe that, Jim. You better get Jim Marks some tissues right about now.
You know, you're right.
Really nice.
Very fine young lady right here. Lots of fine young ladies and men up here, and it's a pleasure to meet them. Glad they're here.
She comes to D.C. with her classmates. So many things to do, and yet she does not forget Dad. That's awfully nice. That almost knocked Pfister over, but he recovers in time. Throws Schumacher out at first base.
Well, that's pretty good reaction time. I mean, the first thing you do is you get your dome out of the way. The next thing you do is you put the glove up if you have time. And he's able to do that, knock it down. Not only that, but recover. I can't tell you how hard that is to do.
12 in a row now by Doug Pfister. You were talking, Chris, to F.P. Santangelo, who does color on Nationals TV, and talking to him about the 2 starts that Pfister has made. His first one, numbers-wise, was terrible. The second one, much better.
Well, the first one right off the disabled list, off of a few rehab starts he went against the Oakland A's, and it wasn't pretty at all. Of course, the Oakland A's have been really good against a lot of people this year. But his last time out, you know, he was a whole lot better. That was against the Diamondbacks, where he went 7 innings of 1-run baseball, did not get in the decision. The only run they get off of him his last time was an Aaron Hill home run. So he's pitching the same quality of baseball, if not a little bit better tonight. And we've seen this how many times now when pitchers face Johnny Cueto. They just seem to up their game a little bit.
Baseball fans may or may not have known the name Doug Pfister when he pitched for Seattle, but when he came over in that trade in late July of 2011 to Detroit, helped them win their division, get into the playoffs. He went 8-1 after the trade with a 1.79. All of a sudden, people started to recognize his name.
Well, no doubt. And then last year he was 10-10. But I mean, in last year he won 200 innings. In fact, he pitched 200+ innings 2 of the last 3 years out there. Now, this is why a lot of people think that the Nationals, that this was a kind of a trendy team to pick to go all the way this year, was the Washington Nationals, thinking that they were going to be very arm strong. They've got a solid bullpen. That has played out, but they have had so many injuries that their offense has been off the track.
Slicing out of play, chased by Moore, but he cannot get it. Hey, there's the National League East standings. You see that Washington club, game and a half out. They were winners yesterday over in Milwaukee, so the Reds benefited from that. The Washington Nationals did not. They're a game and a half out now. They almost took over first place on Sunday, but Atlanta came back and won.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of moving in that particular standings before the end of the year.
One out base hit by Brandon Phillips, so he's on for the first time, and that is the tying run here in the 6th inning. Just a reminder, a little bit later on in tonight's game, we'll have our Miller Time moment of the night, brought to you by Miller Lite. Phillips continues his very hot hitting ways in the month of May, still over 325 for the month after a 255 April. He, like the weather, starting to get better. Here now is Frazier. RBI solid single into center back in the first. Mentioned he had those 3 hits in yesterday's game, all of them after the game went extra innings. He's the first Red to have 3 hits in extra innings since Lance Nix did it against the Cubs back in 2009.
Well, maybe looking for a ground ball double play right here. Doug Fister's been really good at it last year, one of the best in baseball. Third with those 26 grounders turned into double plays. 2-0 count right here. Good hitting count for Frazier, and seems like the last couple of batters he's thrown the ball up in the zone. I don't know whether he's doing that intentionally to Todd Frazier or not. He got the ball up to Phillips. Phillips muscled a line drive base hit into the outfield, and we'll see if Todd is ready to wheel it on a 3-0 count.
And Atlanta trying to help the Reds again tonight. They have a 3-0 lead in their game after winning against them yesterday. Reds begin the day 6 games out thanks to their win and the Milwaukee loss. Cardinals were off yesterday. They begin play again tonight. They're at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've taken the early lead in that game. And ball 4 on a 3-1 pitch. So a little crack in the armor for Doug Fister here tonight. Celebrate Memorial Day weekend at the ballpark. Take advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer. That's purchase 2 tickets for only $22 as the Reds take on the Cardinals. Friday, stick around after the game for a spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by PNC Bank. For tickets, you can call 513-381-REDS. You can visit select Kroger locations or via the computer, reds.com/tickets.
Well, stop the presses. That is worth mentioning that Doug Fister has walked his first batter of the year. Now, he's only into his 3rd start, but he came in here with no bases on balls at all and 8 strikeouts. And you can see that active leaders with 750 minimum innings pitched, he's among the best control-wise.
Moore makes the play at first. The runners do move up. 3 unassisted, 2 out. So Chris Heisey, who seems to have had a boatload of at-bats with runners in scoring position already in this series, has another one here.
He hit the ball hard last night, Heisey did. He had 3 doubles, each of them stroked very sharply. But he got all those on fastballs, and Fister's a little more difficult of a matchup for him because he's able to change speed so well. Tries to drop a breaking ball in there and misses high.
He was 0 for 3 last night with runners in scoring position. Had an 0 for 1 tonight in that situation. Boy, he'd love to get one right here and give the Reds the lead. Out in front of the off-speed pitch.
Fister, it seems like, is the kind of pitcher that can pitch to a scouting report. If you know that you've got a guy in the batter's box who's an exceptional fastball hitter, his other stuff is good enough that he can stay away from the fastball, except maybe to show him one. Like that.
One out single by Phillips. First walk of the year by Fister issued to Frazier. Slow roller to first, move the runners along. Now Heisey. Diving stop. Rendon gets up, throws wide, but out at first base. Close down there at first. Let's see if the manager of the Reds, Brian Price, will come out. He will. And he's going to run down there and talk to Alan Porter, the first base umpire. Let's take a look.
What a splendid play by Rendon. He's got to get up quick because Heisey can scoot. Oh, he's going to get the thumbs up, I think, from Jay Bell on that, and they're probably going to ask for a replay. We'll take another slow-mo look. I guess they're not. Once we see it in slow-mo, it looks like they may have got him by a toenail.
Night fan photo of the game brought to you by AT&T. Michelle at Penn U9. Good shot right there. Thank you, Michelle. That's our AT&T fan photo of the night. Cueto back to work. No walks given up by Johnny this evening. 5 Ks. 2 hits, 2 runs, both unearned. Bernard Span has been on twice with a couple of hits. Leads things off. First hit he picked up to start the first inning did not hurt the Reds. That second one, with Pfister aboard and 1 out, thrown wide to first by Santiago at third. Pfister came all the way around to score what right now is the difference in this game. Span hits Cueto like he owns him. He's been 3 for 3 tonight. He'd been 1 for 4 lifetime against Cueto coming into this game. Make sure you're ready for Reds baseball action 30 minutes before the start of the contest. That's with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, your exclusive home of Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. Span says, what's so difficult about Johnny Cueto? 3 for 3 against him tonight. That is all 3 Nationals hits. Here's Anthony Rendon. His sac fly scored Span to make it 2-1 back in the 3rd inning. Rendon, like the Nationals catcher Lobaton, like their first baseman Moore, never faced Cueto prior to tonight. Nice running catch in right by Schumacher the first time up to retire Rendon. And the deep fly ball to center handled by Hamilton on the sac fly.
Well, a 1-run game, but anybody who's followed the Nationals have noticed right away the managing style of Matt Williams does not like to bunt. They came into last night's ball game, the first one with the Reds, with only 3 sacrifices all years. Every one of those sacrifice bunts have come from a pitcher. So Matt, even though he spent most of his years as a major leaguer in the National League, he's a guy that's got that American League mentality where he's up there letting it rip. scoring runs in bunches. A little tougher to do with some of the middle of the lineup out with injuries. Cueto is not allowed a stolen base yet this year. They've had one caught stealing. Big jump there. Big jump.
And a wide throw that goes on into center field. So Span's going to end up at third. That just does not happen against Johnny Cueto.
Well, I think after throwing over 3 times, Span figured, you know, he's just not going to come over again. And you can see that he read something off of Cueto, or just simply took the chance that Cueto wasn't going to come back over there again. The throw by Pena goes wide of the bag. Span goes in. Another error on the Reds. That is 3 of them on the night. Very unusual to see that.
They committed only 13 errors all year and have committed 3 here tonight. And there's nobody out. Infield will come in. And it hit him. Rendon hit by the pitch. That's the 8th this year that Cueto has plunked. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at a different number. First.
That is the first he's plunked all year.
Yeah.
Normally, Johnny Cueto is among the league leaders in hit batsmen. This year, his control has been so impeccable that he's been able to come in off the plate and get the message across, but without hitting the hitters. Reds will play it back more than likely, and they'll trade in a double play ball for a run.
Here comes Brian Price. This is the second time in this series that Brian himself has gone to the mound rather than Jeff Pico.
Well, you know, I was wondering when this would start happening a little bit, because Brian has developed such a good relationship with some of his pitchers, and Johnny Cueto being one of them, obviously, that sometimes he feels like, even though he's got a lot of confidence in Jeff Pico, handpicked him as a pitching coach, but the relationship that he and Johnny have developed over the years, that he can get across the message, maybe say the magic word or words in a way that it will relate to Cueto a lot better than Jeff Pico. They just haven't had that much time together.
Well, back to the dugout goes the skipper. First and third, no one out. Jathan Worth has twice lined to center in this game. Nationals in front by a run. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning. I don't know, that just looks to me uncomfortably hot. The look that Jason Worth is sporting, doesn't it? This time of year, as we go into the summer months, looks hot.
I think you look good in that look.
I couldn't come anywhere near producing that look.
You would hang down over that nice tie. Now that you've learned how to tie a nice knot,
I'd have to. It'd have to be fake hair. I couldn't get that.
Worth, if you've ever seen him hit, really likes to kind of lunge at the ball. He's got a sweeping swing, plenty of power, and the power goes to the alleys. And that's why Johnny's trying to take that power away by keeping the ball right in on his hands.
Well, he can wiggle out of this jam. That'll be something.
Well, part of the wiggling out of this is trying to get a strikeout out of Jason Worth.
Worth this year has struck out 31 times. 165 at bats. That's about one every 5+ ABs.
You know, one of the best strikeout pitches for Johnny Cueto against right-handed hitters is a changeup down and in. Not really something that most pitchers do. Somewhat unconventional, but they oftentimes swing over the top of it. There it is.
Worth, the veteran, laid off. Now a full count. Ian Desmond on deck. Base hit into right. Span will score. Finally, Worth's thinking a big hit, a hard hit ball that finds a hole. He comes up with his 20th batted in. And it's 3-1.
Well, got him to a 3-2 count. Johnny Cueto had to throw a strike, and that put him somewhat behind the 8 ball on our Mazda pitch by pitch. It goes all the way full. Cueto trying to pitch him inside early on. There's a 2-1 count. Then he evens it at 2-2 by going away. The changeup attempt for a strikeout didn't work, and the 3-2 fastball up. Worth bites off into right field. Good bit of hitting right there in our Mazda pitch by pitch.
So it's Ian Desmond. Struck out and bounced back to the mound. Now a 2-run deficit for the Redlegs.
Still plenty of stuff on the ball for Johnny, but just not the impeccable control that we've seen, where pitchers that have been strikes in the past are just balls tonight, and they're just wide enough of the zone that he's not getting a lot of chase swings. Bullpen have gotten busy now. Looks like Manny Parra.
What's been maddening about this club, if you're a Reds fan,
Sean Marshall, excuse me,
is not being able to put together back-to-back wins. This team won back-to-back games on the 3rd and 4th of May at home against Milwaukee, and have not been able to do so since that time. In fact, they've only done it 3 times all year. They won 3 in a row twice, won 2 in a row, 3rd and 4th of May. Can't put back-to-back wins together. Still time tonight to get it done. They're in the bottom of the 6th. They now trail by 2.
It's funny you say that, because that's a typical observation that most fans make.
Sure.
Or most media type makes, but what players don't really think about that like that. They're thinking about the game tonight, or the at-bat that I'm about to have, or the pitch that I'm about to deliver. And they're not aware of those type of streaks, or lack of.
Got him on strikes. Desmond strikes out for the 2nd time.
Number 5 for Cueto on a high heater. You know, and I'm not saying it's bad to follow a team like that, because you can see these streak numbers in just about every baseball website you look up. But I think it's good that the player, it's 6 strikeouts, but it's good that the players don't think about it like that, because you don't want to make any one game a must win, or else we're going to have lost 3 in a row. They know when they've lost a few in a row, but the only way you win these ball games is that you stay in the present.
So you don't think that they, before the game, as they're sitting around in the clubhouse, maybe look at a game note here or there and notice that they've not won back-to-back games?
I think some guys probably do. Those that can read.
Into right field, off the bat of Moore, is going to produce another run. Rendon will score. Worth over to 3rd. Been a 2-run inning. It's now 4-1 in favor of the Nationals.
Well, I'm teasing by that, but when you're getting beat, it's not very funny. And I'm wondering if Brian Price is going to make a move right here. He's had Sean Marshall up. And this is just not the Johnny Cueto that we're used to seeing. Tyler Moore, that's a pretty good stroke right there on a fastball up. He just takes it the other way. That's a good stroke.
Ryan rising on the steps of the dugout over there, but not coming out yet.
Well, it's a matter tonight of really Johnny just not being able to hit his spots, and you wondered how long he could pitch like a superhuman.
Well, it lasted for what, the first 6 starts for Alfredo Simon before he finally had a bad one. Then he bounced back pretty nicely.
Well, there's nothing to worry about on Cueto. I mean, after all, the first 2 runs were unearned. In this inning, you had a couple of base hits and a hit batter, a stolen base where the ball goes into center field. I mean, there's a lot of things that have gone wrong behind Cueto tonight. Normally, he's strong enough to hoist the rest of the ball club right on his shoulders, but tonight that hasn't been the case.
He will throw to Kevin Franzen, his 90th pitch. Franzen trying to make it 7-1 with that swing. Thought he could get up there on that pitch, but he could not. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of ground outs tonight. Four runs against Cueto, 2 earned. Working here in the 6th inning. To keep that streak intact, in which he has gone at least 7 innings in all of his outings this year. Coming into this one, the first Reds pitcher to go 7 in each of his first 9 starts since Bucky Walters way back in 1944 did it in his first 20. Cueto spot due up 3rd in the 7th. Reds will be down by at least 3. Brian will have a decision to make. Marshall appears ready in the bullpen. Still a ground ball here could get Cueto through this inning. Franzen in 71 at bats has hit into 2 double plays. And he's hit by the pitch. 2 of them in this inning. First Rendon, now Franzen.
Yeah, Johnny wants to know from the home plate umpire, didn't he lean into that? I mean, at the very least, he didn't lean away from it. Let's take another look. Yes, he did lean into it. And it's hard to see, but Franzen has one of those protective sleeves on his arm right there. He may have leaned into it. We see it up here in slow-mo, but it has been a long, long time since I've ever seen an umpire call that in a major league game.
Well, Brian Price is out of the dugout, and he's talking, I'm sure, to Rob Drake about just that. He also is going to make a double switch here. Roger Bernardina out of the dugout. So Johnny Cueto, for the first time this year, will not go at least 7 innings.
Wait a minute. He hasn't made the switch yet. He went out to the umpire to talk, and then he sent.
Somebody sent Bernardina out toward left field.
Now Bernardina's going to come back. Heisey was already off the field on his way to the dugout.
Miscommunication right there. So Cueto is not out of the game.
I think they probably told Bernardina, be ready, because we may make a move and you're going in on a double switch. But when he went out to talk to the home plate umpire, evidently it was not about the double switch. Bernardina figured it was, because that's what you have to do as a manager. You go out and talk to the umpire about a double switch. So they're going to leave Cueto in there.
So bases loaded for Espinoza. with one man out.
Yeah.
And that one goes into right center. That'll get a run home. That'll get a second run home. 2-run single for Danny Espinosa. Plates Worth. Plates Moore. Franston ends up at third. Been a 4-run inning. And it is now 6-1 Nationals. So for the first time this year, Johnny Cueto will not have a quality start. Jose Lobaton will be the batter, and now here comes Brian Price with roster sheet in hand. Now this time they will make the switch. Roger Bernardino slow this time to get out of there to make sure. Here comes Roger out of the end of the dugout. No jog out to left. Heisey will leave. Bernardino still kind of waiting to make double sure. Brian Price to the mound. Sean Marshall appears ready to come in. Brian takes the ball from the ace, Johnny Cueto. The Reds make a double switch. Cueto out, Marshall in. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen.
Of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Now Johnny Cueto in the dugout still a little upset at Kevin Franzen, saying, hey, he leaned in on that ball. And he did.
He got a good point, that's for sure.
Problem is, they just don't call that very much, and it's hard maybe for an umpire to see that because he's on the backside of that runner, hitter. Nonetheless, Cueto's gone after 5 1/3. Here's Sean Marshall.
Bernardino out in left field now. He'll be in the 9 spot in the batting order, due up third in the top of the 7th. And Sean Marshall coming into this game. First time in this series. We last saw Sean on the mound Saturday night at Philadelphia, and he had a very, very rough outing. 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning allowed. Lobaton, the switch hitting catcher, has turned around now, batting from the right side. Weaker hitter from this side of the plate. 2-11. Still only 1 out.
I think Sean Marshall is still trying to get his arm speed and his arm strength back up there. You got to remember that they shut him down from throwing a baseball for several months. In fact, I don't think he threw a baseball all winter long until sometime probably in December or January, where normally guys are throwing all year round. And when you don't throw and you only supplement your regimen of conditioning, with weights and exercises and rubber bands and all those things, which are good, it still doesn't replicate the throwing motion. The only way you really get your arm ready to throw a major league pitch is to throw a baseball. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress for Sean Marshall until he gets that arm strength back.
Foul tip, and Pena cannot quite hang on.
I think that's why you're going to see him more stick to those breaking balls probably than his fastball. He's got pretty good depth on that hook, I can tell you that. That was right over the top.
These runners on the bases still belong to Cueto. Allowed 2 unearned early. The last 4 earned runs. Down the line in right. Here's Schumacher again with a long run, and that's going to be a fair ball. Dropped in there by Lobaton. That'll produce a run. Fransden. And it has been a 5-run 6th inning for the Nationals.
Well, everything that could go right for the Nationals and wrong for the Reds is happening right now.
It's another run charged against Johnny Cueto. Now Pfister will bunt it. Pena all over it, and they get the out. A sacrifice. How about that? Sacrifice by the Nationals. What'd you say? Their 4th of the year?
Well, yeah, they're 4th of the year, and all of them by a pitcher. Makes sense right there. Matt Williams isn't a guy. I mean, you're still early in the ball game. This isn't piling on when you're only up by 6.
This does mark the 3rd time in this series that the opponent has hit around. Phillies did it in the 4th inning on Saturday. Then they did it again in the 7th inning in that 12-1 win. Now the Nationals have done it here in the 6th inning. 10th man to bat. Oh, we've seen some big innings against the Reds on the trip. 4 runs in the 7th inning for the Phillies on Sunday. 5 in the 7th inning on Saturday. Earlier in that game, 6 in the 4th inning. Now a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 6th. Span gunning for another hit, and he's 4 for 4. Toward the warning track it goes. Another run will score. That's Espinosa. 4 hits, 4 at bats tonight by Span, including 2 in this inning. Espinosa touches the plate, finally closing the book on Cueto.
He just waits right in there, waits, and gets that slow curveball and puts a good swing on it. I'll tell you, there have been a couple of left-handers that the Reds have seen in this road trip. Dominic Brown and Bernard Span, who have really struggled before the Reds have come to town. Span has gotten off tonight. 4 hits. Johnny's seeing all those runs being piled up on him right now. And Dominic Brown came out of his shell against the Reds.
A 7 spot. This is the largest inning by a Reds opponent this year. That 6er by the Phillies on Saturday had been the biggest, and now A 7 spot in the bottom of the 6th inning. It also is the largest inning by the Nationals this year. So 8 runs, 6 earned against Cueto in 5 1/3 tonight. Rendon tonight is 0 for 1. Had a sac fly in the 3rd, hit by a pitch, later scored in the 6th inning. Cueto hit his first 2 batters of the season here tonight. Nine runs, 8 hits by the Nationals. That double by Span, their first extra base hit of the night. 4 for 4 game for Denard. Hard hit, but at Cozart, who makes the play to retire the side. But a 7 spot. And the Phillies lead it 9 to 1. The Fan Express to Reds country are filling up fast, so get your group on board the Fan Express. You can call the Reds Group Sales Department. Their number 513-765-7600. Doug Fister came into this game having made only 2 starts this year. He's got big time support tonight thanks to a 7-run bottom of the 6th. He's pitched very well. And now it's a 9-1 lead as he works in the 7th. Cozart leads things off. So the final numbers on Cueto: 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits allowed, 8 runs, 6 earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts, hit 2 batters. Cozart so far tonight is 0 for 2. Santiago to follow, then Bernardino. with a vision of winning back-to-back games for the Reds. Going to take an extraordinary effort here tonight. They led 1-0 after a half. Took that into the bottom of the third. The Nationals scored 2 unearned. Still, Reds hitting the sixth down 2-1. Had the go-ahead run in Pena at the plate. Then Heisey weren't able to get what they needed. Toward the hole, diving stop there by Desmond. No throw, infield hit by Cozart. Memorial Day weekend coming up, and you can spend it at the ballpark. Take advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer by purchasing 2 tickets for only $22 as the Reds take on the Cardinals. On Sunday, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger receive a Reds team card set thanks to Cons. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Go ahead and visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets. Here's Santiago. Spins him around up and in.
Now with an 8-run lead, Doug Fister is about the perfect type of pitcher you want on the mound if you're a Washington National fan, because he'll never get himself in trouble by walking the ballpark. If you're going to get back into it, you're going to have to lay out some line drives, some hits, hit a couple of homers. But he won't get himself in trouble.
Not what they get there as Santiago flies out, and now Roger Bernardino will bat for the first time. He left the dugout twice, entered the game once. 5 for 39 on the year, hitting .128 with 2 runs batted in. Took over in left field for Heisey when Sean Marshall entered the game. The Reds give up their largest inning of the year in 7. The Nationals score 7 in the inning, their most this year in an inning. They're looking to even this series for a rubber game tomorrow afternoon at 4:05. Well, it's too bad too, because Atlanta jumped out to a 5-0 lead over Milwaukee in the top of the 6th inning down at Turner Field. That score holds, and the Reds were somehow to come back in this game, get within 5. They also begin the day, worth noting, 2.5 behind St. Louis for second place.
Now St. Louis is facing Arizona. Bronson Arroyo against Adam Wainwright tonight. Right now the D-backs are up 2-0 on a home run by Matt Adams.
Rendon chases, but out of play. Hard to do, but if you can stay within 3 games of the Cardinals heading into this weekend, then you sweep that club, you're even with them. Everybody in the Central chasing the Brewers.
You know, that's what you probably the most hopeful thinking that you have. Brian Price would never verbalize that, even if he did think that.
Sure.
I think he just wants to get his ball club playing good, solid, competitive baseball. And they usually have. I mean, even in their losses.
That's a fair ball by Bernardino. Going to chase the runner over to third base. Cozart kicks off the side wall. Steve Smith will hold the runner at third as Worth gets it back in. And at second and third with 1 out, a chance to cut into what is an 8-run deficit.
Don't need to get them all in 1 inning.
Second double of the year for Roger Bernardino.
Right inside the first base bag. This is really the fear of a first baseman. when you're holding a guy on and you bounce off the bag and all of a sudden that ball is where you just were. But when you hit it right over the bag as hard as Bernardino did, you're going to get a double every time.
Well, Bernardino had such a good spring, but it has not translated to A, much playing time, or B, much offense for him when the regular season began. Now it's second and third with one out.
The Nationals are going to give up a run. I mean, unless it goes back to the pitcher or the third baseman. Of course, the third baseman, Rendon, is playing in because he's afraid that maybe Billy might bunt right here.
In the air to right, Worth being chased back, still moving onto the track. He runs it down. Cozart will tag and score. Bernardino will tag and move to third. Billy Hamilton, his first RBI of May, 7th of the year, 9-2.
That's a nice catch by Jason Worth out in right field. Because he went a long way. I don't think he was really giving Billy Hamilton much respect as far as having some power. And he went a long way to get that ball, finally tracking it down on the warning track. And the Reds get one closer. See how far he had to go. And I mean, he's playing about medium right field there. He's a good outfielder.
Two out and a runner at third. And Skip Schumacher, who twice has hit the ball hard tonight. A double in the first. That comeback into the mound in the 6th inning almost knocked the glove off of Pfister. He recovered, made the play, and threw Skip out at first. Nice to get that other run home from third here in the 7th. Diving forward is the first baseman, Tyler Moore, and he feeds Pfister, covering for the 3-1 putout. The Reds settle for one stretch time here in D.C. summary tonight. Got off to a good start. The Reds with this hit by Frazier. Took a 1-0 lead in the first, but then it was a Frazier error on the ball hit by the pitcher Pfister that opened the gates for 2 in the third. Then the hits really started to come. This was in the 6th inning. Worth an RBI hit. Here's an RBI single by Moore. Danny Espinosa drove in 2 with this base hit. All part of a 7-run 6th inning that spelled the end of the best pitcher in baseball through the first 6 weeks, Johnny Cueto, who allowed 8 runs, 6 earned, and 5 1/3. It's 9-2 now. Nationals batting in the 7th. That's tonight's Honda game summary. Sean Marshall back to work. Retired the final 2 outs in the 6th inning. Works here in the 7th. Worth, Desmond, and Moore. Worth got things started really driving in runs in the 6th inning. Solid single into right. 2 on and nobody out. Two and 2. Doug Pfister appears as if he is going to get his first Nationals win, his first National League win tonight. The longtime American League pitcher. He was so much better when he was acquired by Detroit. His numbers extraordinary. While he was with Seattle, Pfister was 12 and 30 in his career.
Well, he played for a bad team, number one, and he was a younger pitcher. And I don't think he really realized what he could do with his delivery in a ball game, how to compete, what were his strengths, and so on, until, you know, he's gotten into his late 20s, and that's when he started pitching really well. Same for Johnny Cueto. I mean, Johnny Cueto didn't have a breakout year when he's 23 years old. So, I mean, it takes a while for a pitcher to oftentimes to really get his feet on the ground and understand. Now you have some guys that are exceptions to the rule. Mike Leake is one of the exceptions to the rule right there. But he's going to win a lot of games in this league. Doug Pfister is. All he has to do is stay healthy.
By comparison, after going 12 and 30 in Seattle, he went 32 and 20 in Detroit, winning a career best 14 last year. Cueto, on the other hand, was looking for his 70th career win tonight. Not going to get it. Strike 3 to Worth.
Persistence with that curveball. He went after him over and over and over again with those breaking balls, and he finally gets one that drops into the upper end of the strike zone. 8-pitch strikeout there for Sean Marshall. You know, it's not good that when you get blown out, and this is when you're 7 runs down, but you know, they've been looking for a chance to get Marshall into a ball game, you know, with the game not on the line, where he can extend himself and really start getting his major league groove back. Because it's been a long time since he's had a chance to get out on the mound and do this. And this isn't the same as throwing a bullpen.
If you're counting days, today being Tuesday, and if you go 4 days in between starts for Cueto, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's conceivable that he could start again on Sunday, but the probables for the Cardinals series do not show Johnny Cueto in there. It's Bailey Friday night, Cingrani Saturday night, Leake Sunday night. Another long run for Skip Schumacher, and he drops the ball. Desmond ends up at second base.
Well, you can almost see that coming. That ball was hit very high, and Schumacher's playing a very deep right field. Calling for it, just comes back and gets off the edge of his glove. We saw Jason Worth do almost the same thing last night. But that is 4 errors for the Reds. We're not used to seeing that.
That's just shy of a third of the errors that the Reds have committed all year in their first 43 games in one game. 13 going into this game, 4 tonight. 2 last night, so 6 in the series. Sure, we'll get a email shortly from Rob Butcher telling us the last time the Reds committed 4 errors in a game. Take some research.
Why would you want to be reminded?
Because there are people like me who are stat geeks. We need to know that stuff.
All it does is tick me off.
We want to be reminded, Chris, how rare it is that it happens.
Okay, that I like.
Tyler Moore, part of the offense tonight for the Nationals, 1 for 3. Run producing hit in that 6th inning. August 10th of last year. Wow. August 10th, 2013.
And that was not Rob Butcher. That was our own main man, Josh Hall, doing the research on that, right?
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Less than a year ago. I would not have thought that. Marshall walks Moore on 5 pitches. He joins Desmond on the bases. First walk issued by Reds pitching tonight. Now Jeff Pico comes out of the dugout. Remember, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio, the first to break it down for you. Brian Price will be spoken with by Jim Day. That's all part of Reds Live postgame, brought to you by King's Honda and the King's Auto Mall. Everybody on the infield, save Frazier, gathered on the mound. Rob Drake comes out, join in as well. Double barrel action out in the Reds bullpen.
I imagine that they're checking in on Marshall to make sure he feels okay there, because it has been a couple of days off since he pitched. He pitched that game in Philadelphia, as you said, got walloped around pretty good, but he threw 29 pitches in 2/3 of an inning. And that's a high stress inning right there. So, you know, in this ball game, they just want to make sure his arm feels okay.
LeCure throwing in the bullpen, and look who's next to him, Chris.
Homer Bailey. You know, interesting, because that would make some sense. Not necessarily using Bailey, but I'm saying keeping Bailey back from throwing his bullpen where you normally do it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon today. Well, you play a long game last night, use up all your pitchers except for Marshall. He's out there tonight. You're getting beat all over the ballpark. You're down by 7. So hold on, Homer, just in case we need you. Now, this is probably not a case where they need him. So, but they did make him wait here until later in the day to get his bullpen in, because you never know. What if this game had gone 16 innings? That's when you need him.
Bailey last threw on Saturday. Scheduled to go on Friday night at home against the Cardinals and Shelby Miller. Toward the mound. Marshall throws out Franston. Runners move up, and now 2nd and 3rd, 2 out for Danny Espinosa.
Well, Espinosa, if you remember in last inning, he was the guy that was due up when Brian Price went out to talk to the home plate umpire. And that's when Roger Bernardino thought that he was going out there for a double switch, and he started going out to left field. And they had to wave Bernardino off the field because Brian Price wanted to give Johnny Cueto one more hitter. But he was considering probably bringing in Marshall to face Espinosa.
Espinosa had gone into last night's game, 1 for his last 20. Ended up with a couple of hits last night, and the big hit that Chris is talking about here tonight. Marshall's pitch count approaching 40. He can get through this inning. He'll have gone an inning and 2/3. He walks Espinosa on 4. His second walk.
I think he's out of gas.
Here comes the manager of the Reds. Out of the dugout again. Brian Price will once again go to the home plate umpire. Marshall's spot due up 4th in the 8th inning. Todd Frazier has gone across the infield. He's standing now over near third. Neftali Soto has come out of the dugout. Santiago has gone into the dugout. Sam LeCure enters from the bullpen. We know he will be the new pitcher. These next generation of fighters as they go head to head with a UFC contract on the line. The all new season of The Ultimate Fighter. Team Edgar versus Team Penn. Only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Many changes for the Reds, most notably the man on the mound, Sam LeCure.
17 games for Sam. I imagine this is just one of those get out of the inning deals.
Reds have brought Neftali Soto into the game. He's at first base. Todd Frazier went from first over to third. Santiago, the third baseman, he went out to left field.
You know, a 15-inning game will do it to you. It'll change the way you use your bullpen entirely. Sam LeCure, normally one of those pitchers who pitches in games in which the Reds are winning or very close late in the game.
There's Santiago in left, and Bernardina switched from left to right. So who left the game? Skip Schumacher. And LeCure gets ahead, 2 strikes on Lobaton. So LeCure is in the 2 spot in the batting order. Soto is in Marshall's spot, the 6th spot. Strike 3 called. So Sam LeCure comes in, throws 3, gets an out, puts an end to the bottom of the 7th. 1 run scored for the Nationals. Brandon Phillips, the man we will feature, but we'll go back 7 years to 2007 at RFK Stadium. That's where the Nationals played their first 3 years before this ballpark was built. Phillips stole not 1. That was Dimitri Young, by the way, you saw at first base. But two bases on 1 play on August the 1st, 2007. A John Merrill hot dog play of the game by BP.
You know, that was in the early years of the shift. And you don't see that much anymore because the more the teams have been figuring out how to use a shift, what players to place where, what things can backfire on them. You know, that was a big learning curve early on when teams started using it. Now, you know, 7 years later, you see a lot more teams shifting all over the place. And the only problem they're still having is throwing the ball around the infield when there's a strikeout, not knowing where guys are. But I think that type of double stolen base scenario, that might be a thing of the past. Well, it was fun to revisit.
New pitcher on, meanwhile, for the Nationals into the game, Ross Detweiler. It was, of course, Detweiler who gave up the home run ball in the 15th inning last night to Todd Frazier. Gave the Reds the 15-inning win. He comes on here in relief of Doug Fister. Phillips in the game is 1 for 3. There's Nate McLouth. He's the new left fielder for the Nationals. New shortstop, Zach Walters. Phillips, then Frazier, then Pena. Fister goes 7. Allows 2 runs, 6 hits. He walked 1. He struck out 5. And this is first home start Third start overall. He threw 109 pitches tonight. He's in line to get his first National League win. To Desmond, and he throws out Phillips for the out. Pardon me, to Walters, who makes the play. The new shortstop, 1 out. Nissan drive of the game. We'll go back a night. Todd Frazier against the man he's going to face now, Ross Detweiler. Into the red seats out there in left center field, number 8 of the year. Gave the Reds a 4-2 lead in the 15th. They went on to win it 4-3. John Morrell, our Nissan drive of the game. Frazier tonight 1 for 2. He drove in the Reds run back in the first inning, walked in the 6th. The only walk issued by Pfister. Now he walks again here with 1 out in the 8th. Now the first pitch misses the zone, and that's going to mean Lobatone jogged to the mound to talk with Detweiler.
This conversation probably is going something like, hey, see that scoreboard over there? You know, we're up by 9 runs. Do you want to continue pitching in games in which we're winning or games in which we're losing?
Point taken, probably.
Nice frame job there by Lobatone. The ball was high.
So ground down by Phillips, a walk to Frazier. Pena, who's 1 for 9 as a right-handed hitter this year, is up there. This is a chance for Worth. And he makes it for the second out. So Neftali Soto now bats for the first time. Soto got into last night's game, went 0 for 3. 2 different times in extra innings. Once in the 11th and again in the 13th. He was asked to bunt to move the runner along. Could not get it done in the 11th and ultimately struck out. Got the bunt down in the 13th inning against Aaron Barrett, but the Nationals were able to get the force out at third. So he was unsuccessful on 2 occasions last night, being asked to sacrifice bunt. Soto comes into the game hitting .111. He's 3 for 27.
Now, tough spot for a young kid to be in. I mean, not the bunting part. There's no excuse for that, really, in my book. But as far as playing time goes, Neftali Soto has never played a professional season in which he didn't play every day. So now you're sitting on the bench, and now you're coming in and you're facing big league pitchers. There are guys with breaking balls way better than what you're seeing down in the minor leagues. Control is much better. And they're looking at you as new meat. And they're dialing it up just to put you out. And it's a tough thing to get used to coming off the bench.
He's had some good years in the Reds minor league system, Neftali Soto. certainly at the lower levels, as he worked his way up through A ball and into Double A, and then ultimately the final minor league stop in Louisville. He's 25 years old. He had a 30 home run year at Carolina in 2011, tying for the Southern League lead when he hit 272 after hitting 21 the year before in Lynchburg. They thought they had something special in him power-wise. Moore will handle that. Soto gone, and the inning is over. Bottom of the 8th upcoming. All Nationals 9-2.
Here in the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day back with you, and want to send out kudos to some of the Reds players and coaches for what they did this morning. Here's the group photo right here. The Wounded Warriors program was staging batting practice by the Washington Monument at one of the fields there at the mall. And there you see Billy Hatcher throwing batting practice, and Brian Price was out there in left field. Brian Price, Don Long, Billy Hatcher, Steve Smith, Jay Bell, J.J. Hoover, Logan Ondrusik, Skip Schumacher all took time after a 15-inning game last night this morning to stop by and just give their best to those Wounded Warriors who were taking batting practice on the mall there. And just a great thing to do, and it certainly, I'm sure, uplifted the spirit of those Wounded Warriors, and we certainly salute them as well.
You're right, Jim Day. We can't tip our caps enough to those folks in the military, particularly those, as you saw there, the Wounded Warriors program. That whole area around the Washington Monument just reopened. Talked about the damage that had been done to it yesterday via an earthquake 3 years ago. We got that area looking very sharp again. Time to take a look at our T-Mobile game changer. Denard Span, what a big night he had. 4 hits, 2 runs scored, a couple of RBIs, a stolen base. All of that against Johnny Cueto. Here he is now trying to tie a career high with 5 hits. Marshall, an inning and a third, a run, 2 hits. Sam LeCure came on, was able to get Lobaton looking to end the bottom of the 7th. He's back out there now in the 8th. Span came into this series hitting but .236. He's jumped that number now as he stands in there. The .258. Couple of hits last night, 4 tonight. Hamilton coming on. Can he get it? He cannot. Span's going to get himself a single, and now he's going to stretch it to a double, so he's tied his career best with his 5th hit. He has both extra base hits by the Nationals in this game.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Oh, boy.
You know, in a 92 ball game, when you see it play like that, what you're really hoping for is that everybody gets up. Because those are potentially some very dangerous collisions right there, with an infielder running out and an outfielder running in. Fortunately, Kozar got out of the way, and
Anthony Rendon will bat now. Well, we can turn our attention a bit to the wrap-up of this series, the wrap-up of the road trip here tomorrow afternoon at 4:05. Alfredo Simon, we were talking about earlier, got off to a very good start this year. First 6 starts, all quality starts. He was 4-1 through those first 6 games. Then he had into a bump in the road against Colorado, but heck of a bounce-back effort on Friday night last week at Philadelphia. What we're talking about with Alfredo Simon. This is last Friday.
he really had it working last Friday. I mean, his breaking ball was superb. He was changing speeds. He was really almost toying with the Phillies by changing and almost making up pitches as he went along. The Phillies couldn't give him enough praise after seeing him. He will be on the mound tomorrow against Tanner Roark, who's thrown the ball extremely well for the Nationals.
Roark's 3-1 with a 3.65 ERA out of the University of Illinois. Made his big league debut last year, was working out of their bullpen. Finally, at the end of the year, they put him into the role that he had been more familiar with in the minor leagues, in as a starter. He'd been doing well out of the pen. He did a very good job out of the rotation in September last year, and he earned a spot in the rotation this year. Reds will see him for the first time. In fact, with seeing Roark tomorrow and Pfister tonight, back-to-back games, facing pitchers that have never faced the Reds before. Reds in the ninth inning will have Cozart, Santiago, and Bernardina. Worth tonight 1 for 4. Worth in this series is 2 for 10. He's had a tough 2 for 10 because he's hit the ball hard darn near every time he's come up there. Nate McLouth came in, took over in left field. Kevin Fransden is on deck. Now a full count. Well, the game, Chris, is not till 4:05 tomorrow. Does that mean you might have time to sneak in a museum in the morning?
I hadn't thought about it, but now that you bring it up, maybe I'll give you an early morning ring and we can head on down to the Newseum, I guess.
The Newseum?
The Newseum. which is the museum that covers the history of news and newspapers and so on.
Long throw by Frazier, and it's right on the money to Neftali Soto. Frazier back in his more familiar third base, sends this game to the ninth. Weekend at the ballpark, and take advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer. Purchase 2 tickets for only $22 as the Reds take on the St. Louis Cardinals. It's a weekend full of fireworks, giveaways, and much more. Head to GABP this weekend to take advantage of that 2 for $22 ticket deal. You can call 513-381-REDS for tickets. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can go to Reds.com. Ross Detweiler back to work. 9th inning, trying to turn in 2 innings worth of relief effort here tonight. Cozart leads it off. He had an infield hit in the 7th. He's 1 for 3. Jason Worth out there near the wall in right field. I'm not sure if he was picking something up that had fallen from the stand, so Detweiler waits for him to get back into position. Apparently a baseball come out of the stands. Cozart bats first here in the 9th. Hit hard toward the alley in left center field by Cozart. That will 2-hop the wall right near the Reds bullpen. Cozart in the second with a double. He's 2 for 4. His 7th double of the year. Good to see him make good contact right there.
You got a hanging breaking ball right there and jumped all over it. Well, maybe it was just a fastball that kind of didn't have much on it there.
Reds have been out hit but 9-7, and they actually have more extra base hits tonight than the Nationals. They have 3. The Nationals have but 2, both those by 5-hit man, Bernard Span. Santiago, he, like Pena, has had very limited time batting from the right side. 1 for 2 batting right-handed this year, although he really hasn't had a ton of at-bats overall.
Yeah, and like Neftali Soto, he has not had much playing time, but he's 30 years old. So he's been around a little bit. He knows what it's like. I mean, he's accepted the fact that he's a utility player that is going to sit the bench more than he's going to play. And it just takes a different mindset. Very good defender, good hands, can play just about anywhere. We've seen him tonight in left field, starting at third base. He's come in and played shortstop.
He has a hit tonight. That was back in the second against the starter Pfister. And now he is hit himself.
That's a tough one to rub there.
Right in the back of the little lower back area. Ow, right in the small of the back. So he joins Cozart on the bases, first and third with no one out. Long shot, but not out of the realm of possibility that the Reds could have a big inning and get themselves back in this game.
Hey, beauty of baseball, no clock.
Right. Bernardina now.
Detweiler's doesn't look like he wants to finish this game out. He was the guy that got tagged with the loss. You said it earlier last night. They've got some action in that bullpen already now after seeing a double and a hit batter, and Matt Williams wants to try to stem this off before it gets too far.
Ryan Matthews, who threw 2 innings last night, is up in their bullpen. Now Bernardina gets ahead 2-0. Billy Hamilton, representing the top of the order, waits next. Two-hit game last night. He is hitless tonight. Bernardina yanked one down the right field line his last time. That was the last inning worth of work for Doug Pfister here tonight. And he stays alive with that cut.
Detweiler is no stranger to the Reds. I mean, he was a starter for a long time here with the Nationals. In fact, he has started 6 games previously against the Reds in his career, and some of those really good games. 6 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 1 run, another game, 6 innings, no runs. But he is solely out of the bullpen now.
Weekly hit to first will produce a run. Bernardina will get the RBI, his 3rd of the year. Cozart scores, and it's 9-3. Reds down now by 6. Santiago in the scoring position. He's at second with 1 out for Billy Hamilton. Remember, an earlier start tomorrow. 4:05 first pitch. 3:30 with Reds Live. Jim Day, Brian Giesenslaw will have that for you from the Fox Sports Ohio studios. Jim Day on site. Game at 4:05 and then a trip home to Cincinnati. Just a quick stop. 3-game series against the Cardinals, and the Reds are back out. They'll head west for the first time this year. 3 in LA, 4 in Arizona. There's Billy's first hit of the night. That will produce another run. Scoring from second is Ramon Santiago. Been a 2-run ninth, and it's now 9-4. Sam LeCure scheduled to bat Devin Mesoraco. Here comes Matt Williams, and he's made the call.
We've seen the Nationals do this a couple of times tonight already. Ball's just right inside the line, and hey, you put it in play, good things might happen.
As much as he wanted him to, Matt Williams cannot coax Ross Detweiler through the 9th inning, so the Nationals will make a pitching change. I'm back to tell you about it after this. Then you go out. I don't know how many miles that would be. Our nation's capital. Well, Ryan Matthews, who liked Detweiler, threw in the game here last night. He had 2 innings of no-run, 1-hit baseball in relief of Steven Strasburg last night. He's asked here to get the final 2 outs of this game. Devin Mesoraco pinch hits for Sam LeCure. Big news out of Mesoraco last night was that he was held hitless. 0 for 6 with a walk. Mesoraco comes in at .450 with 4 home runs. He had gone 5 for 7 in the 2 games in which he had played in the Philadelphia series. 0 for 6 last night. It's this ball hard, but just foul down the left field line. Phillips waits on deck. Hamilton is at first. Reds have scored twice here in the 9th. Down 9-4. And a 2-2 count. When do the Reds see this Nationals club again? That'll be in the end of July. They'll be in town for 3. Strike 3 called. Devin disagrees. Rob Drake rings him up. And Mesoraco back to the dugout. Take a look at it.
Little comeback fastball right there, and close enough.
So 2 out. Here's Phillips. The dates of that National Series: July the 25th, 26th, 27th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Great American Ballpark. Hamilton takes off in a non-steal situation, given defensive indifference. Now, a hit by Phillips could make it 9-5. A long ball could make it 9-6. Not a save situation. Toward the hole, diving stop. Walters gets up, throws, got him. In this game, we'll see the Washington Nationals posting a 9-4 win And so tomorrow afternoon, the rubber game of a 3-game series, the Nationals and the Cincinnati Reds. The final score here tonight, the Nationals a 9-4 winner over the Reds. We'll have more from Nationals Park in a moment.